This prayer I held deeply in my heart in the journey of remembering. This was a prayer offered by a master, a calling to remember and to accept the truth of healing. The stars already arrived to say your name. I am, I am, I am. I am the child of God. The stars have taken me to run through the spirit of love itself and to discover this truth, to accept it as truth. In the journey of love, I climbed mountains of thorns, stepping on sharp points, and yet the stars told me in this world everything can be healed. The stars told me to listen a lot and speak so little, to be able to accept and speak with the voice of love. All the beings of love have arrived, bringing healing to all beloveds in praise and glory that healing is accepted. As estrelas já chegaram para dizer o nome seu. Sou eu, sou eu, sou eu, sou eu filho de Deus. As estrelas me levaram para colher o mundo inteiro, para conhecer a verdade, para poder ser verdadeiro. E subir serás de espinos, pisando os pontos agudas. As estrelas me disseram, no mundo seguro tudo. As estrelas me disseram, ouve muito, fala pouco, para poder compreender e conversar com meus caboclos. Os caboclos já chegaram, de braços no pés no chão. Eles trazem remédios bons para curar os seus cristais. The stars have taken me. I've climbed the mountains of thorns, stepping on sharp points. And then the stars told me that in this world everything can be healed. In the name of love, to accept this healing. In the name of love, to surrender to that healing. This is the way of love. And then to accept, I am, I am, I am. I am the child of God, willing to accept. Page 109. The copper coin understands. The copper coin understands its place amongst the gold. Any words that can tarnish another know they are meant to one day be discarded. Discarded from your speech, and they will, as you mature, grow ripe and can nourish others more. The sounds of pure gold are different than anything still alloyed. What they say never in any way harms. This journey of relinquishment is essential. Every beloved holds within them the belief that they are damaged, that they are less, and that they are unloved. Every beloved holds this. It's the only reason that there was any incarnation. There wouldn't be an incarnation except for the belief in separation. And the manifestation of the self-loathing is through the body. The manifestation, the belief of self-loathing, of unworth, is through the body, and because that hatred is so unable to be reconciled, it gets projected. It gets projected into everything. There is actually nothing out there. The projection is the expression of trying to get rid of the self-hatred. And that's why within the world everything is wrapped in likes and dislikes, and good and bad, and right and wrong, because those affirm separation, the split. To try to capture what you like is to run from what you dislike, but this is all made up in your mind. And it keeps affirming the copper coin, the smallness, the littleness of the belief of separation. Words are used as one expression to try to get rid of the self-loathing. This is why in this teaching, in this calling to love, it's to recognize that any words that can tarnish another, know they are meant to one day be discarded from your speech. And they will. As you mature, grow ripe, and can nourish others more. But the nourishment is a learning. To nourish, to offer nourishment is a learning. It has nothing to do with the past. It has nothing to do with the self-concepts of what you thought you knew about being nice, about being positive instead of negative, about being good instead of bad. That's still all facade. To nourish is to see the light, to only want to see the light in everyone and everything, and to truly embrace that there is no problem, and to no longer allow the projection to have its way. The projection is to stay away from being in here. Everyone has had these experiences of being very engrossed in something that's going on out there, or seems to be going on out there. All the attention is on out there. Story, problem, circumstances, not recognizing that this is self-perpetuated in order to distract from being with God within. It's not about staying cloistered in a self-absorbed inner journey. It's about expanding and yet meeting the friend within and letting that expand into the universe, because there is no separate self. But you have to come here first and meet the blessed truth within. And one of the ways of meeting that blessed truth within is to follow. To truly accept that you are the servant of God. And by accepting that you are the servant of God because you are the creation, you will learn to follow the voice of love, of learning to express only love. To really stop and ask, what is this for? What's running here? Is to wake up to the choice of wanting to follow and wanting to remember and heal. When the ego is in its habit, it's just the past recycling, and there's no love, because everything that you have known has come from the past and was made up. It was a separate world that said, I am separate, I am without. And you can't improve it. You cannot improve it. You cannot make a better illusion. You can think you can, but you can't. Illusion is illusion. You can think that you're making a grander illusion, but it's the same illusion. It's not the truth of who you are. It's not the reality of life. It's not love. It's made up. And to accept this is to follow. The identity would actually say, this is a blow to my ego. Well, that's when you can recognize it actually is accurate, because it's meant to be. It's not a battle, but it is the relinquishment of an identity. And you're not the healer that is healing that identity. You are the participator that surrenders into the hands of God what you think is occurring, what you think you see, what you think you know. And coming back again and again, show me the way. Show me the way. Your will for me is peace and joy. I accept it. That's at the core of everything. To accept that God's will for you is peace and joy. And to focus all attention on that alignment. So when Hafiz recognizes, as every master of course, recognizes that any words that can tarnish another. Now, tarnish another you may jump to the conclusion that that means blasphemous. But it includes everything that you put on another that is an identity. It doesn't matter what the identity is. You can believe that you're raising them up to a higher status, giving them kudos for their success in the world. You are tarnishing them. You are holding them in slavery. And you are doing so unconsciously projected that you want them to stay in prison with you. That's what's going on. You want to keep them imprisoned. You're not doing this necessarily consciously, but this is the self-loathing. This is the ego that has no love. It's all hatred. It's all vengeance. It's all grievances from the past. There's no love there. Even when you perceive yourself as giving someone kudos for making a better illusion, you're not offering them love. They are meant to one day be discarded from your speech. Discarded from your thoughts and your speech. The speech is nothing more than what you think you know spoken. And to ask, what is this for, is to join love. It's to no longer want to bring illusions to anyone or anything, which also opens the door for your own healing, because it means you don't want to bring illusions to yourself. That you want to walk in the truth of love. There is a gap of healing where it's based completely on trust. Completely. Now, what the ego would like is immediate payoff. I surrender this and I want to see the results immediately. I want a payoff because that's how the ego works. The ego has a giant slot machine that is constantly, as you hate, as you condemn, as you loathe, it pays off. It gives you a payoff. In pain, yes, but also in the belief of satisfaction that you're in control of something. And you look for that payoff. In healing, healing doesn't have a payoff machine to satisfy your ego. There is an element of deep trust in healing where everything is about trust. That you keep offering love, that you keep opening your heart, that you keep surrendering all your thoughts about what you think you know into the hands of God, and you wait. And you trust. Because that trust, that patience, is essential, because that's actually what is healing. It's learning to put your trust in the divine. It's learning to let go of what you think you know through trust in the promise of love, in the following, the humility of following that has no payoff, immediate payoff. Yes, there's a payoff. The payoff is freedom. The payoff is peace. But there is a gap where you may not recognize that peace. You may not have an instant payoff like you did from the ego, which you had your satisfaction, your being right, your all of the games of the ego. There's no games in healing. It's all love.
Mm.
And it's patiently waiting and surrendering and trusting. And as you trust, you're healing. As you surrender, you're healing. But you may not get the payoff that your ego is looking for. You won't get it from the ego, and you won't get it from God. That doesn't mean that there won't be miracles recognized, and light recognized, and peace dropped into. Yes, there will be. Of course there will be. But when you expect a payoff, love can't provide that. It isn't giving to get. It isn't, I'll surrender what I think I know, but I better get the payoff. No, that's the ego's way. The way of love is to keep opening the heart and trusting and following and being the servant of love and refusing to accept the screaming of the ego any longer, to refuse to accept the doubts, the fears, the caution, all of the habits that keep coming up, to keep surrendering them into the hands of God and keep coming back to trust, trusting in the Word of God, trusting. I am love itself. I cannot be lost. I cannot be without. Just because I'm not recognizing it doesn't mean anything. Who am I that would recognize love when I have been focused and absorbed in my own knowing? I will follow. I will follow. I will follow. The stars told me that everything could be healed. I put my focus there. I put my faith there. I put my trust there. And I hold that as an anchor of love that I don't let go of. That's the journey of love. Will you forget? Yes, more than likely. Then you forgive yourself and you come back again as soon as possible. And you return to your true purpose. And you align yourself with what is most helpful. All of these words of tarnish will one day be discarded from your speech. And they will as you mature. What is that maturity? The spiritual maturity is when you're no longer having temper tantrums and wanting it your way. The spiritual immaturity has temper tantrums. We've all been there. We can all recognize them. It's the doubt that comes up of I know. It's the giving yourself to all the thoughts of the ego and letting them run. But as you mature in love, in strength, in trust, you grow ripe, and then you can nourish others. Because peace is all that you want. The nourishment of others is through your conscious intention. It is all consciousness. Because the ego has no consciousness. The ego's life is habit, trance. There's no coming into awareness with the ego. The ego runs from a sleep state of habit. You have to give it permission. Absolutely. It's not being done to you. It's not happening without your permission. But it's a trance. And that trance was in the past all that you knew. Lost in a trance of constant thinking, assessing, condemning, judging, criticizing. But the consciousness is about being present, about stepping out of that trance and making a conscious choice in the moment. Now, when the moment is there and you come into awareness deeply enough of, do I have a choice here? Yes, I have a choice here. And there is a rebellion that says, I want it my way. That's the spiritual immaturity. That is the rebellion that says, no, I know more than God does. I know. And it's all fear that's speaking, and yet you buy it. It is a deeply humble place to follow. It is a place of strength to follow. It doesn't take strength for the ego to know. It is a complete element of weakness. There is no strength in knowing. There is strength in following because it is love. In the everyday life, the identity, the pride, the self-aggrandizement of the ego does not want to say, or does not want to have you say in any moment, I'll have to get back to you about that because I have to pray and ask what is most helpful. I have to be with that. Not because I'm pretending to be holy, not because I'm pretending to be a spiritual person, but because that's authentic. I have to stop. I have to ask. What would be most helpful? Show me the way. I will follow. My mother, Rainha da Floresta, I will follow. I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. I love you. I love you so. I will follow. And I will not hide my wanting to follow. I will revel in the recognition that I don't know. That I'm living a life that I've never lived before. That I am living a life of healing and remembering and transformation. I'm living a life that I've been called to, and that my holy purpose is only here. I live this life and I follow. And I'm not afraid of following. Sometimes there is resistance, yes, but as soon as it's recognized, to say no, I refuse anymore to resist and play these games anymore. I will follow. Show me the way. And the way will be shown. Absolutely the way will be shown. No one is without the connection. That connection is who you are. Do you have to let go of the mind and what you think you know and all the chatter and all the shenanigans that go on with the mind? Yes. Is that there to be surrendered? Yes, it is. It truly is. The sounds of pure gold are different than anything still alloyed. What they say never in any way harms. In any way. That's why you have to stop and ask. Because the ego has no relationship to not harming. The relationship with the ego is all harm. That's all its purpose, is to hurt and criticize and attack. And not just in obvious ways, but in being right and in being likes and dislikes and right and wrong being held and held as godlike when it has no reality. I will follow is the call of the heart. You're never left without the guidance. Never. If you can't hear the guidance, if you're not available to hear the guidance, then the sacred word will take you. You will never be without. The inspiration will come. What prayer would be most helpful in this moment? What teaching will be most helpful in this moment? Reunite me, correct my concepts here. I need correction. Realign me into peace and harmony again. Because it's what I want. That's what will be. That they will never say words that have in any way harm. The thoughts that you have in your mind of problems, of thinking you know how things need to be or how things should look, or concepts of how things are supposed to manifest themselves or anything like that, it's all harmful. It's all about control and making your own little world again. In the name of spirituality sometimes. But can't you trust that God will not leave you without? Do you have to make a conclusion of something so that you are in control of it, but then you don't even know if that's what's most helpful? Can you put your trust into the hands of God, that God will lead you to what will help you awaken? Constantly, because there's no tricks in God. There's no game. That's all projection onto God from the games that you've played all your life and that you've believed in. Manipulations, theories, all kinds of work around somebody else to try to get them to do what you want them to do, or get them to like you, or get them to approve of you, or whatever game is going on. God doesn't play games. Love doesn't play games. It's always honest. It's always for your remembering. It's always because God will not leave you without. God's will for you is peace and joy, right here, right now. Don't play the same games with God that you played with the ego and with the world. Don't be shy with God and play a game of, I'm not worthy of your love, oh no, 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 and then you want God to try to convince you that you should be worthy. No, it doesn't work that way. That's the ego's way. The way with God is straight. Here I am. Here I am. Lead me. Show me. Strengthen my trust. Strengthen my faith. Because it's all that I really want. Let it be unhooked from my identity of what I think I know. Show me the way. Go into the closet with God. Speak straight. Don't play games. Stop playing games in the world. Pay attention to what games are being played. What old strategies are being used out of habit. Don't allow it. Question it. What is this for? Why? What is this shyness about? I want somebody else to come toward me instead of me going toward them? What kind of games are being played? Offer love without conditions. Let your heart burst open. That's your healing. To no longer have thoughts of harm, thoughts of separation, thoughts of less and more and good and bad. All of this is just the poison of illusion. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any worth. It doesn't have any value. It isn't the truth of you. You are this divine light of God. You are this divine, beautiful energy field of God. A star. A star. And you make this little mud ball and settle. When God is calling you to claim your star. Claim your star, but you have to claim everybody else's. You have to claim everyone else's. See the star in every beloved. Accept the star in every beloved. Refuse to accept the illusions of the past that say you are separate and that you are without. Don't be afraid to look within. Don't let the mind run and have its way. Stop and look within and ask, what am I believing in? What am I making up in this moment? Because this is not of God. It's not peaceful. It's not harmonious. It's not joyful. So something's being made up. I'm willing to see it so that I can surrender it. I'm willing to recognize I made that up. And I surrender it now. I don't understand that I made it up. I don't have to. I have to accept that I made it up. And with humility, surrender it. To have the prayer within yourself, let every voice but God's be still in me. I only want to hear the voice of God. I don't care about my opinions. I don't care about my analysis, my old analysis of my perceptions of how things are and what they mean and where they're going to go and how they're going to be. It's all worth nothing. Let every voice be still except for the voice of God. And in that, when you truly want that, that's what love will answer. Because you don't want it anymore. And it's not magic. Yes, it's going to be there and you're going to say, no, I'm not interested. I recognize it. It's the same old garbage. There's no love there. Does the ego disguise itself as love? Yeah, sometimes that's what it tries to do. It disguises itself as concern. It disguises itself as offering something to someone, but in truth there's the underlying intention of getting something instead. It can make costumes. Absolutely, it can make costumes, but it's not true. And it's not authentic, and it's not the truth of you. To accept the truth of you. Who would attempt to fly with tiny wings of a sparrow when the wings of the eagle are offered to you? That's what the belief in the ego, that's what the life is. Flying with tiny wings of the sparrow, barely making it, just surviving in the belief of that there is just survival, instead of accepting the mighty power of the eagle that is within you, that is God, and letting that divine strength be recognized, be accepted. The power of the eagle. Let it manifest itself, because it's who you are. But it has no dishonesty. It has no games. It has no agendas. It has no manipulations from the past. That is all let go. And the truth of the light will lead. Leading out of the valley of death into the eternal life. That's the journey. That is the journey. It is up to you to choose harmony and joy, or the illusion of the ego. It's up to you. No one can do it for you. The choice has to be yours, because choice is your only remaining freedom within the world of illusion. You're not the healer. You are the willing participate in healing. You are choosing love and joy, or the illusion of the ego. That's all. That's the choice. And you have the power of that choice. I was saying to a beloved today, I used so many mantras. I used so many teachings that I would stay with and give myself to enter so deeply that I didn't think it was even possible to enter so deeply, but trusting that God was taking me deeply. I am not weak but strong in the truth of love. Refusing to accept weakness as an option any longer. Refusing to accept that I was helpless, that I was a victim. I had bought being a victim, being helpless. I had bought it hook, line, and sinker. I had lived it to its fullest. And in healing, it was, I had to repudiate the past. I was not weak, but strong in the truth of love. I was not helpless, but all powerful in the truth of love. It's what I wanted. And I would have to come back over and over. I will follow. I will follow, because it is my welcome home. I will be shown the way if I trust, if I allow. There is a tipping point in every journey, and this is what is in this teaching. Any words that can tarnish another Know they are meant to one day be discarded from your speech, and they will, as you mature, grow ripe, and can nourish others more. That calling to serve is the tipping point when you no longer believe what you think you know. When the thoughts are no longer enticing in their strategies. When you have questioned what you think you know deeply, and you refuse to accept it any longer. You refuse the past, not because you're in battle with it, not because it's evil, but because it means nothing. It has no worth. It has no reality. It's made up, and it's based on pain and suffering. And it will always come back to that, to the belief of scarcity, to the belief of lack, to the belief of the lack of love, when this isn't true, doesn't exist. My beloved, every beloved that you see in the world is a reflection of you. As you see him, you see yourself. That's the gift. As you see him, you see yourself. So every moment of every day, there is an opportunity, because if you have commentary, if you have opinions, if you have judgments and assessments of this one, that one, this one, that one, it's how you see yourself. Needs improvement? Kind of a mess? Oh, I like that one. I like their behavior. This is all made up. It has nothing to do with love. Nothing to do with love. Love is waiting to be unconditionally offered. Without conditions, as the light of God. And as you see the light of God in everyone, you will see it in yourself. There's no one or the other. But the schoolroom is filled with others, in the sense that that's what we believe. It's a prism it's like a giant kaleidoscope prism that has shattered in the moment of separation and showed up as millions, billions of others, seemingly others, and they're all one. And there are no differences. There are no levels and degrees of the purity of love. And it's time to accept the gold and to accept the eagle's wings of power and to follow, to let yourself be taken, to be shown, to learn. Jesus speaks of the happy learner. The happy learner is a happy learner because the happy learner is so glad they're not right. And they love correction. They love to be brought back to the truth again and again and again. Because it's what they came here to do. They came here to remember. And every time they accept correction and healing, it gets stronger. Every time you want to see the truth and live the truth, it strengthens within you. Every time you receive correction, it strengthens the truth in you. When you try to stay back and protected and in your knowing, you're not a happy learner. You're a resistor that does not want to have your control taken as if you actually have something to control. And that is so essential to accept, that there is nothing to control. You're controlling, it doesn't even work, but you are trying to control smoke and mirrors of an identity that doesn't really exist. Because you've spent lifetimes believing that control was your safety. And at some point in the spiritual journey, you have to recognize your safety is in being undefended. And there's nothing controlling that. There's nothing to control. Undefended means I have nothing to defend. I don't know anything. I'm here. Let me be as open as possible in this moment. Let me remove all barriers that I have made in the belief of protection when there's nothing. I accept there's nothing to protect. That's all that you're being called to, is to accept that there is nothing to protect. No identity, no body to protect. No body to protect. I remember being with a teacher who asked me my name. I said my name, and I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Nobody." Nobody. And in that moment, I spiritually fell to my knees for the gift. Nobody. Nobody. Nothing needed. No identity needed. Because it's all made up. It doesn't exist. Unless you want to wear a name tag that says, "I'm the light of God." Because that's the only one that's even going to come close. But once you put it into a name tag, it isn't true anymore. Because you've made it into an identity. But accepting there's nothing, no body to have to protect, control, know anything about. Imagine that you meet someone, you meet a beloved, and you don't ask them one question about them. That you don't ask them where they're from, what they know, who their children are they married, I want statistics. All of this is just made up stuff that, what is it serving? Are you really, really opening your heart in that moment and offering love? It's just habit. It's letting all the habits go and being present in the moment. How can I serve in this moment? To nourish others in this moment. Not from some concept of the past, of what I thought I knew about nourishment. No. Show me the way, I will follow. Show me the truth of nourishment, because I don't know. Offering peace in the moment is an exquisite gift. Exquisite gift. And there's no fanfare with offering peace. There's no identity that comes up out of offering peace. There's nothing to get in offering peace. It's just nourishment. Just the yes of love. I will follow. Fear and love cannot coexist. When you are saying yes to love, fear disappears. That is the power of your decision. That is the strength of the truth of who you are. You cannot serve them both. When you offer love, when you affirm love and light, fear has to disappear. And this is how the healing occurs, in the peace of love. The sounds of pure gold are different than anything still alloyed. Come back to the purity. Come back to the truth, to the honesty, and rest in that honesty. And receive the guidance. I will follow. It's very simple. It's chop wood and carry water. Chop wood and carry water. I will follow. Moment to moment. No story to track. Every time the mind starts going somewhere else, no, come back here. Come back here. The future is in the hands of God. I'm staying right here. Right here. This is where love is. Future is in God's hands. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not paying any attention to it unless I'm inspired and God takes me to some manifestation that will be helpful, but I am not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in love, in peace, and in harmony. It's all here, right here.